This is the Smoked Debrief. Light up, lock in, and let's get to it.
Hi, I'm Jim.
I'm Hollywood.
This is the Smoked Debrief.
What do you have for us today, Jim?
Today we have a Jaime Garcia Reserva Especial.
Your Spanish has gotten much better since you started this podcast.
Gracias.
Donato.
My father's cigars, and I believe Jaime is the son, and this is his special blend. It's a Connecticut wrapper, aged Nicaraguan filler and binder. So once again, we're hitting some Nicaraguan, but we got a little Connecticut today. We're going to have to find us some Dominicans, bro.
I have to say, bro, that I've never smoked in my father I didn't like.
Well, I have never smoked in my father's.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Well, you've been missing out. So far, the smokes you brought in the last two shows have been outstanding. Will it be 3 for 3, or will you be denied?
I think it will. Because, I have to say, the first one's, the opus that we had, that came from Havana Fields, as did this one. But the first selection, the Oliva that we had,
Oliva,
whatever, those came from JR's. So I don't think you can go wrong with anything at Havana Fields because his selection is just choice. JR's, they're trying to fill everybody's niche. People that don't smoke.
or niche.
Niche. One day I want to get a bundle of those Fuente alternatives that they have, just to try them. It would be kind of, because those are $4 cigars.
Does JR have a bunch of cigars that are like?
Yeah, they're alternative. They have a whole wall of alternatives. Like if you like Monte Cristos, we have those, and they're like $4 and $5 cigars. But you got to buy them in a bundle.
So what you're saying is you get a bundle of good taste like ass.
Couldn't be any worse than a damn fake Cuban.
No, nothing could be worse than that. You could have put a dog turd, and I think it wouldn't have been as bad as that.
I think it did have dog turd in it. A dog that ate cloves. The dog smoked a clove cigarette before it pooped it out. This is pretty good.
A little spicy. How did you come up with an Indian Chief logo as a logo for Salvation Coffee?
Well, my father was born up in the mountains,
Right?
and close to Cherokee, and that's
What is Cherokee a town?
Cherokee, North Carolina, yeah. It's the reservation, Indian reservation.
Well, there's a reservation up there. I don't know this. I'm not from no.
Yeah, Cherokee Indian Reservation. It's like the best catfish fishing anywhere. Really, trout fishing is great up there. It's beautiful. But there was always, like, I remember being little, and we would go to Cherokee because we would take trips, and there was always, get your picture taken with the Indian chief, and so there was always a man out there dressed up in the headdress, full regalia. And I know Cherokee Indians did not wear full headdresses like that. Their their attire was a little bit different. 6, 7-year-old me didn't know that. When you think of an Indian, you're thinking of Indian motorcycles, that logo the Indian uses. And then later, Red Man chewing tobacco. I have my mother's brother, my uncle, Uncle Junior. He always chewed Red Man. And when I was little, he told me, he asked me if I wanted some. I was like, no. He said, it'll make your goober grow. And ever since then, I would always tell everybody, Uncle Junior said that Red Man makes your goober grow. I just go and tell random people that when I was little. But that logo, that Indian Chief logo, and I did that DNA test, that My23 or whatever it is, and I'm
23andMe.
Yeah, 23andMe. I'm 1% Native American and 99% Western European. So I just feel like this. It's got to be something from Cherokee, I would think, because that's where my dad was born. But I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not rich enough to have somebody tell me my whole line. But
I'm 8% Native American, more than Elizabeth Warren.
That's a good percent. I think I'm more than Elizabeth Warren.
I think you are.
I think she's like 0.020000000
Warren.
infinitum. Yeah. But there's always something that's like Indian, the tribal music, the tribal drums. I've always liked it. There was always something about it that I liked. And I always, and when you're growing up, you're watching cowboy and Indian movies, I always kind of sided with the Indians more than the Cowboys, even though the Indians weren't portrayed in the greatest light. So I've always there's something about Native Americans that is just cool to come see. And so when it came time, I just started messing, and I've got the Indian Chief. It was royalty free, and so I just decided to include it in our logo. We did catch some hate because in the back wall of the store is the whole Indian Chief heads on that back wall. That was the first art that went up in that place before we ever did the floors or anything. Carrie did the Indian Chief head, and about after we were open for about 2 weeks, we had people come in, they would snap pictures and then accuse us of cultural appropriation.
Because you support Native Americans, that makes you culturally appropriating?
Yeah, I'm culturally appropriating. It's total bullshit. Everything's culturally appropriated. There's no originator of anything that still exists right now.
Well, it's just like University of North Dakota. University. They were the Fighting Sioux. The Sioux Nation loved the fact they were called the Fighting Sioux.
The Redskins.
And frickin', they had to change their name.
Yeah. Like who to defend? Some white chick with purple hair.
That's exactly right.
That's who it is. It's always some white chick with purple hair or pink hair that thinks they know everything.
Don't hold back. Let me
rein myself in. I'm getting off on a rant. I don't want to do that.
Speaking of ranting, some of the players of the WNBA have stated, why are you laughing?
Because I know where this is going.
Have stated that they're not going to play this year if they don't make as much as the NBA players.
Gosh, I hope all three of their fans aren't too disappointed. They have to be watching reruns.
I've been watching some lowlights. I got to admit, I've been sucked into the internet lowlights of some of the players and the horrible play that they get for being the best players in the WNBA. their thing is, well, the NBA lost money in the beginning. Well, they haven't been losing money every single year since their inception. And there's no way you should be making the money that LeBron James is making.
I mean, I don't think LeBron James should make that much money.
But the fact that they're going to sit out the year, if they don't get, that's going to be the end of the WNBA.
Yeah.
It's going to be the end.
Well, they just fire them. Find some players that will play. That would make it entertaining. I would watch that. You remember when the air traffic controllers went on strike and Reagan fired them all?
Yep.
That's what they need to do.
Yep.
You don't want to play because you think you're not getting paid enough? Bye-bye. We'll find somebody else. There's plenty of up-and-coming high school girls,
College
players that want to play, that would do it for half of what they're making now, and be more entertaining.
But the really important question is, if LeBron James suddenly identified as a woman, could he play in the WNBA?
I believe he could.
Where he would score 200 points a game?
Until that Caitlyn chick elbowed him or fouled him or something, and he gets on the floor in the fetal position crying.
You know who Stephen Smith is? The sports analyst.
Steve Smith, yeah.
So he made a comment a couple of weeks ago that Bronny James, LeBron's son,
doesn't need to be in the NBA.
He said the only reason he's in the NBA
because his dad
said, well, if you don't draft my son, I'm going to go somewhere else.
And you know what they should have said? Bye.
And LeBron confronted Stephen on the court and said, don't talk about my son.
Keep my son's name at your motherfucking mouth.
That's what he said. So you put him in that position, LeBron.
Yeah.
The reason that Stephen Smith is talking about your son is because you put him in a position that he did not deserve to be in.
Stephen Smith's a sports commentator, right?
That's his job.
That's his job. Everybody fair game. LeBron,
Now,
he can play basketball, but he's spoiled. He's a spoiled athlete. And there's a lot of them.
You know, I have a really good friend, Dan, star of Office Joe. He thinks LeBron is the greatest player ever play the game.
That just goes to show you that actors are not very smart.
And I just say to him, how many rings does LeBron have? 2, maybe 3?
Not as many as Jordan.
How many rings does Jordan have? 6, I think.
He's the man. Michael Jordan's the man. Always will be the man.
You can't compare. You can't compare them. Different time, different rules. The players today couldn't play back in the day.
That's like comparing.
Remember Lambeer and Rodman? They beat the shit out of people.
Yeah, Rodman was great.
And if the players of the day had tried to play back, they would have quit.
Yeah,
they couldn't have taken it.
It's like, I mean, if you're LeBron is like Bud Light, and Michael Jordan is like Michelob Original.
Yeah, I'm not saying LeBron's not a great basketball player.
He's a good basketball
player. But I'm
player.
saying
he's the greatest.
It's a different environment that they're playing in.
Mm-hmm.
They literally beat the shit out of each other in the days of Magic and Kurt Lambeer and Bill Russell. And, I mean...
Yeah. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Kareem. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
And the Harlem Globetrotters.
Well, they're still around.
Are they?
Yeah. They got a lady on their team. I loved the Harlem Globetrotters as a kid. I remember they used to come to town,
They used to have a cartoon, all kinds of stuff.
They were the greatest.
Yeah.
You know
Meadow Lark Lemon.
And Curly.
And Curly.
You know who the who the Harlem Globetrotters of our day and age now is? The Savannah Bananas.
There you go. Yeah.
Have you ever watched them?
I've seen clips. We have a team here too, the Sock Puppets.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. They're good games. They're actually a pretty good team. I don't think they're the same level as the.
Well, the Savannah Bananas throw between their legs and around their backs, and I did a TV show down there, and I used in Savannah for a year. And I used to go watch them play, and it was just the entertainment was just off the hook.
Yeah, it should be entertaining because I mean regular baseball is boring as hell. It's really boring, extremely boring. That's why they need to let them do steroids. Seriously, bring Mark McGuire back, Jose Canseco back,
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, let them shoot each other in the
What's
ass right on the field.
What's the big guy from the Giants that went from being like 180 pounds to 270?
Ruby?
Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds.
Oh my Lord. And this is the same people that think LeBron, yeah, I'm talking about you, Dan, star of Office Joe. I bet he got paid. You think he got paid for that?
No.
Really?
No.
Jesus.
He didn't get paid because, he was
He was already on salary.
He was already on salary.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Anyway, the same people who think LeBron James is the greatest basketball player think that WWF is fake. It's the same damn people. And you know that shit's real.
Well, it's real because if they weren't athletes, they'd all be in the hospital. It may be scripted,
Still physical.
but it's still physical as shit.
Have you seen that one cage match when Mick Foley, when he fell from that thing and then everything came down on top of him? And shattered his back. So
Yep.
I saw him at a fan thing in Raleigh one time. It's rough because they can barely.
They can barely move.
It's insane. There was a documentary on HBO about the original line, the Jets. They're Mark Gastineau and
Who was married to Bridget Nielsen?
he was at that time.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
But it was that whole line. I can't remember the other gentleman, but that showed them back then and the way they played football. They don't play football like that now either.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
But
Everybody's protected. The quarterbacks are protected. The receivers are protected. Can you imagine if Dick Butkus was playing now? He'd get a penalty on every play. Now, I'm not saying
whereas now, if they're playing the Chiefs, whoever's playing the Chiefs gets a penalty.
Oh my God, a Chiefs conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying saying it's not smarter because let's face it, there was no concussion protocol in those days.
No, and it is horrible.
And without question, there are tons of players from that era that got brain damage.
Yeah,
And so there has been some good coming from the rules and everything.
There's but in that documentary,
what documentary?
The one about the Jets, the New York Jets lineup. It showed them now they had a little reunion, and none of them could get around. One was in a wheelchair, and Gastineau walks like he's like wooden legs,
right?
And it's rough because that they're in pain.
Well, look at Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, I think, is in a wheelchair now. It's just.
I saw It was Brett Favre. It was on this show. It was a Netflix show about.
This cigar's got a little power to it.
It does. It's a good cigar, though.
Yeah, it's a great cigar.
Really good. But they were talking to Brett Favre now, and even he looks like he's beat up pretty good. Isn't Tom Brady coming back?
Coming back from on?
He wants to play again?
No.
There was a clip, and I don't know if it was AI or what, but somebody said Tom Brady was wanting to come back and play again. And they showed him, they had these two images where when he ran the 40 back in the day, and then they had him run the 40 now, and his 40 now is faster than his 40 then.
Yeah, because he never was a runner.
Well, evidently he must be better now.
You never wanted him to get out of the pocket and be running. He ran like a 60-year-old man.
Now, the way the most defenses are, your ass got to get out of that pocket and run.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You think sports are better or worse now?
I think they're more geared towards entertainment now, and that's what they look at,
Right.
as opposed to the sportsmanship of it and letting the boys be the boys.
Well, it's obviously a lot less physical.
Yes, definitely.
Both basketball and football are a lot less physical.
I don't know, man. If you ever watch LeBron James play, when he gets fouled, he hits the deck. It's like somebody shot him or something.
It's like watching soccer when LeBron's
It's like he was in that movie Rust and got shot by Alec Baldwin. Bam! LeBron's down. He needs to go play soccer.
Have you ever watched soccer?
Yeah, they're like the pros.
They're the pros of actors. I mean, it's hilarious.
But I watched soccer when we had a chance.
Be careful now, because I do own a soccer team, so.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm paying respect.
Okay.
Because I watch it, and to me, it's like baseball. It's really boring because it's long. It's a long time before something happens, like something's a ball that's hit into the net or whatever. But as big as that soccer field is, and them motherfuckers are running back and forth,
non-stop.
and then here we gotta run over here, and bam, the ball goes, and they gotta turn around and go back. That shit, it's exhausting just watching it. I can only imagine how they feel.
Could you imagine being out there? That's a great ash right there, buddy.
Some good ash. And wow, you made it to the ashtray.
Yeah.
That's a first.
I know, buddy. Wait till I get my new knee. I'll be like,
we're going square dancing. Square dancing.
I'm talking about clogging. I don't know about square dancing. I'll be clogging.
My neighbor is a champion clogger.
What? Really?
Ever since she was little, yeah. She's the same age as my youngest daughter. And ever since she was like this high, she was a clogger.
She in great shape? Do cloggers have to be in good shape?
I don't know. I know her as a little kid. I don't pay any attention to that. I'm not a pervert.
Old man.
So you were an Army brat. You were
Air Force brat.
So did you ever have toys when you were little?
Like what?
Like G.I. Joe?
Of course. And I had Lincoln logs, and I'd build forts out of Lincoln logs and put my G.I. Joe, put my little army man inside the. In fact, I have a G.I. Joe from 1963.
With the fuzzy face?
No, he had no fuzzy face. They didn't get to have beards in those days.
But they had like the fake hair.
Yeah, they had a G.I. Joe with the kung fu grip.
Yeah. Atomic Man, you remember him? Atomic Man had the arm.
I wasn't into science fiction when I was a
This
kid.
was a G.I. Joe. It was Atomic Man. It was one of their
See, that I'm older than you by about 15, 20 years, Jim.
Shut your mouth.
My
Are you
stuff,
really?
my stuff was realistic. It didn't have all this science fiction bullshit going on.
You talking about realistic? I had G.I. Joes, but I mainly played with Big Jim. Big Jim was Mattel's version of G.I. Joe, and he had his arms were some kind of rubber, but it felt like skin, and you could raise his arm like that, and his bicep would
No.
You raise his arm up, and his bicep would raise up. I shit you not. You raise his arm up like that, and his bicep would pop up. It's Big Jim.
Wow.
So, well, they had Big Jim. Then they came out. It was the Big Jim series, and they were called the Wolf Pack, and they had different characters. And one of them
Is this different than the Wolf Pack from the Vegas bachelor party movies? Because those guys call themselves the Wolf Pack.
Yes, it's very different.
Okay.
So there was one who was a Native American, and he had like the Billy Jack style hat,
Right.
and had a vest and all this. And then there was another one that looked like John Wayne. He had like John Wayne's appearance, and he had lost his arm in like a shark attack or something. I don't know how the story went, but his arm on this side was fake, and you would raise his arm and he'd go, and you push the button on his back and his fist would come out. It would shoot out of his arm.
Did you have Rock'em Sock'em Robots?
I did.
That was the greatest thing ever. I'm surprised there's not Rock'em Sock'em Robot contest now that's become, some electronic crazy thing.
Yeah, you do a VR.
Oh, yeah, they made a movie about that with Hugh Jackman.
Real Steel.
Real Steel.
Yeah.
They shot that in Detroit because I was up in Detroit doing a movie called The Something. It had Topher Grace and Richard Gere. What was it called? The Double. And Richard Gere played a CIA Russian KGB assassin, and he had a watch, and in the watch was
Pull the thing out.
and he
A
cut
garrote.
people. A garrote. That's it, a garrote. And the last day of the movie, we were filming the final scene. When the movie was over, Richard Gere gave us all watches.
They have the garage.
It didn't have the garrote, but it looked just like his watch. I mean, he was a super cool guy, super friendly,
You
super
seen
nice.
The Counselor.
No.
Was it The Counselor? It was a Brad Pitt movie, and at the end of the movie, somebody came over, and it was like some kind of garrote that they pulled out, but it was motorized, and how they got it around his head, you didn't really see it because it happened so fast, but they got it around his neck, and it just starts tightening up, and you just see him, and that thing's just tightening up till his head pops off.
This is a movie.
This is a movie. I cannot remember the name of it. It was a Brad Pitt movie. I think it was The Counselor. Because he didn't play a very big role in it. It had Javier Bardem in it. Let's find out. Ara. Was Brad Pitt in the movie called The Counselor?
It's Ara, not Mara. Yes, Brad Pitt was in The Counselor. He played a character named Westray in that film. It's a thrilling movie, isn't it?
How did he die in that movie?
In The Counselor, Brad Pitt's character Westray meets a pretty gruesome end. He's in Mexico when he gets ambushed by some cartel guys. They use this nasty device called a bolito, a motorized wire that tightens around his neck and basically decapitates him. It's quick but brutal. The film really keeps you on the edge, doesn't it?
It does. Thank you. I said aura. I have witnesses.
You have spoken to her literally 30 times, and she never thinks you get her name right.
I know it, and I say it the same way.
I think it's because you got that southern accent. That
well,
confuses
yeah,
her.
it might be. Maybe aura needs to get her damn some southern up in her. I'm gonna have to change it.
I got to tell the story about my buddy Dan.
Let's hear it.
Star of Office show.
Star of Office show, not paid.
Not bad, but still the
Didn't
star.
make it down.
Dan's in the dating scene.
Oh,
So he's on Bumble. No, he's on Hinge. And-
Grinder.
No, Hinge.
Okay,
And Dan's the nicest guy. You've met Dan.
I know Dan's a great guy.
Dan wouldn't say a mean thing to anybody. But he has not had much luck in the dating, even though he's very handsome, he's in great shape,
Yeah,
because women are damaged. You know, women think all men suck. And so he's been very, very frustrated with the dating scene.
yeah.
And he was going out with this one girl, went out with her 5 or 6 times. She seemed to like, ash down.
Bash down.
She seemed to like him, but after 5 or 6 days, still, you know, she held his hand, you know,
Yeah.
they hugged goodbye, but no kiss.
No kissing, hand hold, but no
After
kiss.
5 days, I mean, I'm not saying you got to kiss a guy right away, but after 5 days, if you've gone out with a guy 5 times, you know, well, I'm not saying
5 days,
I'm not saying tongue, but you might at least indicate that you had some feelings for the
He
guy.
ain't got no game.
He does not. He does not have that. But it's because he's nice, right?
Yeah.
You know, because he expected after 5 days for her to try to kiss him or act, you know, or indicate she wanted to kiss, but he didn't. So he kind of was kind of grumpy about it.
Poor day.
So he sees this girl on Hinge.
The girl that he just went out with?
No, this is a new girl.
Other girl.
She's gorgeous, and Dan has a profanity for women with large posteriors.
What's posterior?
But
Butt? Okay. Bootag.
yeah,
Booty.
yes. So he sees this girl. And he's always he doesn't know he wants to go out with these girls because in their photos he can't tell if they have big butts. And girls that have big butts are usually self-conscious about it because, you know, most guys don't, because most guys are looking for thin women. Most guys, that's the general consensus. So he sees this girl, and there's a picture of her where she's a great picture of her butt and her shoulders. She's flexing. She's in great shape. And fucking Dan, in his moment of depression and how can I say this? And frustration, comments on her photo and says, you know, you might meet guys that are nicer and better guys if you didn't have a picture of your butt on your profile. Totally out of character for him to say
But
something.
he likes butts.
Totally out of character for him to say something kind of mean like that, right?
Really?
So that night, Dan
Did
and
they
I,
block him?
that night, Dan and I and our friend Michelle, we get together and we're laughing, we're chatting, and Michelle goes, you know, Dan, I have a friend that's really interested in you. And she's got a nice butt and she's in great shape. And Dan goes, well, I'd love to meet her. She goes, well, that's not going to happen. And Dan's like, why? She goes, because you made a comment about her butt today, and you said that if you didn't have a picture of your butt, you'd probably get nicer guys asking you out.
Poor Dan.
And Dan's like, what? Well, it was a moment. I was depressed and I was bummed out about the dating situation.
Insult somebody.
Because that's not him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the nicest guy. He would never say anything mean about anything, but he did. He said it to her. So we called her up, and he had to apologize and
Make up a different name or
no,
something?
no. We called her up, and he's like, "I'm sorry. I was
drunk.
I was
drunk.
I was in a bad mood. I was
there.
So now they're going to go out.
Okay.
So, but it's just funny that
He's not going to get kissed till after the 10th date on this one.
I told Dan, I said, Dan, what does it tell you? And he goes, it tells me that I got to be who I am all the time. I can't let depression or I can't let being in a bad mood make me say something that I would not normally ever say. And dating is a nightmare right now for both parties. You know, women are bitter because guys suck.
There's a lot of hookups at the coffee shop where they
come there for a first date because
Yeah.
it's a safe environment.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because sometimes they'll tell us.
A coffee shop's the perfect
Okay.
place, public place. It's
Yeah.
safe, you know, and
Good coffee.
coffee. Yeah, and Dan usually goes to a coffee shop on his first dates. That's pretty funny.
Maybe if he really wanted to impress him, he would bring him to Salvation.
It's a long drive, Jim.
That's even more impressive.
He lives in Raleigh.
That he cares enough to drive him that far.
Yeah,
Such a
but then he's
special
going to tell
place.
them to drive out there, and they're going to think for sure that he's a serial killer.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, whatever.
You know, they don't know the story of
Clearly,
Salvation.
he needs to move to Alamance County. Maybe he'll have a better shot. But, you know, I would not want to.
As Dan's consigliere, I had to be his lawyer during that phone call, and you know, and
Don't say that.
you know, it was like, but fortunately, she forgave him, and we'll see what happens in the future. I'll keep us updated
Thanks.
on Dan's love life because I know we're very interested in how that's going.
Single, successful actors such as himself.
And filmmaker.
And filmmaker, yeah.
It's funny
How's
because
that new movie that he's doing? How's that?
what new movie?
The one
The
that,
short film.
yeah, the little trailer.
I don't know how it's doing.
Are they filming it or is it already?
It's already a short film. It's already done.
Oh, okay.
He did a great job. I did critique his director. His director. There's one scene where it's easy to be angry as an actor. It's harder to be do everything internally. And so the director kind of went the easy way in one scene and had Dan be angry when he should have been contemplative and reserved. And we're putting Dan's reel together. We're getting his website up.
He should have FaceTimed Nick. Like he did in Office Joe. Hey, sir. I'm like,
Well, he's
Very nice.
again. He's such a nice guy. He would never do that to whoever his directors is. He would take his director's advice. But now that we look at it, he's like, yeah, I should have been.
oh, I'm talking about a relationship.
Nick's the wrong guy to go to for relationships. I'm his relationship guru because I've made so many mistakes and screwed up so many times.
Oh,
You know how that is. Well, you don't because you've been married since you were 5.
that doesn't mean I didn't date and go out with people.
Really? You did?
Yeah.
You really did?
When I was in Germany, we learned enough German to get laid, drunk, and beat up.
I hope that your wife's not going to watch the show.
Well, she knows.
Does she? So, once you met her, that was it? Or was there still some shenanigans until you knew? After 12 years of courtship.
When I met her, and I went back to Germany, no, that was it. It was her.
Really?
I mean, I still went out and drank beer and stuff, but I didn't really pay attention to any females.
So you knew,
Well, I felt it,
right?
but didn't know till I got home. And she had me going to church. I was going to church, and when I was in Germany, I would go to the chapel.
Really?
Yeah, there was a church in Germany, downtown Schweinfurt, and it was so huge. This was it was 1,000 years old. I mean, we don't have buildings like that here. At most,
Right.
our buildings are
Right.
maybe 200 years old, or
Right.
300,
If,
whatever.
maybe.
Yeah, but over there,
Well, I can't imagine a 300-year-old building in the U.S. It'd be falling apart.
yeah. Well, this one church, and the doors were like 30, 40 feet high and maybe 15, 20 feet wide and just humongous, all wood. Then you open them up and you could go in and it's so beautiful because they've got all the statuary everywhere and it's gold. And you could go in the church during the week and where the pulpit was, it was a spiral staircase and it was up high. And that's where the pastor would be. And the staircase was all gold. And they had lasers. You could see, this is old school stuff. You could see like they had red lasers crisscrossing. So if you broke that field, the alarm would go off and stuff.
Oh, lasers not as a light show.
No,
but lasers
protect the gold. But the history, it's just beautiful. I think I've got pictures of it somewhere. But Schweinfurt, Schweinfurt, Pigtown, the ball bearing factory.
Where we bombed the shit out of Schweinfurt with B-24s?
Yeah. And what's neat is like I would rent a car and you could drive out on the outskirts of town and you would get up on this hill and you could park and just go out and set up like a picnic blanket on the side of the hill and it would overlook the town and you could still see the wall from medieval times. And then where it had been destroyed and then rebuilt and just like it was a whole timeline of stuff from like the war and when the buildings had been rebuilt and stuff. It's crazy because we don't have that here because we're not that old. But over there, that was when they were fighting dragons and shit, I think there were dragons.
Well, yeah, Blake Lively's got a couple of dragons.
Well, they're going to be Justin Baldoni's pretty soon.
What was your favorite thing about Germany?
Germany?
Because you were there a while, right?
4 years. It was
because you'd never been anywhere, right?
Yeah, I never. But see, every time I didn't travel, I loved Germany. The country was just beautiful. And then, of course, when I was on Border Patrol, the farther away we got from
Border Patrol with the Soviet Union?
Yeah, during the Cold War. And the closer you got to the border, the friendlier the people were. And so the people were great. But honestly, the country is just beautiful. It's almost like being in the mountains of North Carolina on like a really nice 70 degrees summer day. And that's what Germany was like. Now, of course, when it was cold, it was cold. But the country was just beautiful because there's like no litter. I guess they just respect their country a lot better than we do. But there's no litter anywhere. And most of the time, there's like no horn honking. That was a big thing when we had to take driver's tests to be able to get cars and drive in Europe. And like that was one of the big things that they emphasize. You do not honk your horn. It's only in case of emergency. And so it's like, okay, you never hear it. There's not a lot of noise pollution. But in the summer, you could go to the Schwimmbad and like people, the women laid out topless.
What's the Schwimmbad?
Schwimmbads, like the swimming area. They
Okay.
have like a man-made beach. Or you would go somewhere, it would be a swimming pool. Then there's places where the whole town, I think if the name of the town ended in Bod, it meant that it had a spring, a natural spring. And there was, I I can't remember the name. Hasselblad.
I think that's a camera.
Well, there's a town that way too. But
Hasselblad.
you can go. You could go and like it was a natural spring, like a cave or something, and there was a spring, and people would go there and they would swim just like it was a swimming pool and stuff. So that was pretty neat. But honestly, the beer. The beer in Germany was excellent.
Now, do they drink cold or hot beer there?
Cold. I know everybody says they drink.
No, I'm asking. I don't know.
It was cold. I never went anywhere and they served cold. They served warm beer.
I never got to go anywhere because of what the airplanes I flew could carry. They weren't too excited about U.S. flying B-52s or B-1s into
It's just. It was some of the best Italian food and Chinese food I ever had was in Germany. And I was a creature of habit. Because I was, depending on what day it was, I would eat a different kind of food. But there was one Italian joint that I would hit when I would be coming back from being downtown. I would go in there and they knew my order exactly. Ein rigatoni, zwei garlic toast. And, I would get it to go and I'd eat it when I got back to the barracks. And the Chinese place, chicken fried shrimp, no vegetables, soy sauce. And even at the PX, when I would go, the PX had great pizza. And all of the ladies that worked at the PX, all the waitresses and stuff, they all knew me by first name, and they knew exactly how I wanted my pizza. A large pepperoni pizza burnt, but I wanted it well done. And a large Pepsi, no ice. And they would have it. I'd go in there, and when I left, the week before I left, every one of those ladies got a card and signed it and gave it to me from the PX. It was so cool. So at some point, I made an impression on somebody in my life.
If you hadn't got frostbite, we should have stayed in. Would you have made it a career?
Yeah, I had intended to because I'd already re-upped to stay in Germany, and that I think I got 30 days free leave for doing that. So that I had every intention of staying in. But then when I went back, after that one Christmas, I went back and that's when they said, you've got a medical board. So, and I fought that for.
What year was that?
That would have been 87, Christmas of 87. And then I went back and they were doing budget cuts and stuff.
Well, we knew that the wall was going to come down. Right, Aaron?
Yeah. But it was really cool. Now, I rented a car, and my buddies, it's like, hey, I rented a car. Let's, we've got it. Let's go do something. And
did you ever drive on the Autobahn?
Yeah.
Was it crazy?
You could go. It was like a Mercedes 190, so it wasn't that fast. But there's Porsches and whatever else, they fly. And the guys on motorcycles are serious. Those are some serious damn bike riders. Full leathers, like they're in a damn Can-Am race or something, just full leathers. And they're doing, 140, 150 miles an hour. Just shoot.
Really?
And, you have to get out of their way. They come over, they'll flash their lights or they'll put their blinker on. And then you move over so they can pass and stuff. But try that shit here. It didn't work.
You got those lane monitors that drive the speed limit and sit in that left lane.
The pace setters of America. They gotta sit in the left lane and drive 55 the whole way. And it's like, Jesus, come on. But what I think they should allow
is rockets. You should be able to have rockets on your car.
Some kind of projectile Well, you don't want to really hurt the car. Well, I guess the car would get hurt. But a projectile that would go through your windshield and theirs, because if you hit them just right, it would make them move a certain way so they would automatically turn to get out of your way.
Right.
You just have to shoot them right. You know, you got to hit them.
You don't want to hit the driver. You just want to make them aware.
Oh, no, you want to hit the driver.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because you want. What if you hit them and it makes them mad and they're just like they go slower? They go, I want back down to 45. So you want to pop a cap in their head and hit them just right to where they're.
The thoughts of our guests do not necessarily reflect the thoughts of the producers of this podcast.
Or do they?
It sure be nice if we had somebody watching this. We're probably just doing this for ourselves, but I don't care. You know, it's entertaining.
This is a good smoke.
Keeps me out of trouble on Sunday, Saturday, whatever day we're here. This is a good smoke. I'm going to say that 2 weeks ago when we smoked, what did we smoke 2 weeks ago? You brought, before the Opus, the Oliva.
Yeah.
That's been the best cigar we smoked in a couple of weeks.
I think so, yeah. I agree.
I'm gonna.
You know, that's the one that I had when we were at JR's that time.
Ah.
I bought you one, so you should have one in your collection.
I do. But it's surrounded by warfighters, you know, so I'll have to dig in there and pull it out.
Haven't heard anything from them. I figured maybe they would send us some swag or something.
Dude, they have sent me so much swag.
Well, they're sending you swag. They're not sending.
It's because I'm their consigliere. You're just you're a copycat.
Oh, okay.
When was the last time you communicated with them? I communicate with them every week.
Do you really?
Yeah. Next week, I will bring the Warfighter humidor, and we'll prep it.
Do an
We'll
unbox?
season it,
Okay.
and we'll get it prepared for. I've got the juice and the crystals and all that shit, and we'll do all that next week, and we'll show folks how to do that.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
How's the Range Rover doing?
it's feeling great.
Check engine light still on?
Mm-hmm.
Catalytic converter.
Check engine light and the
No two sensors.
check engine light and the tire light.
You ain't never getting rid of the tire light.
I know that.
But that other catalytic. No.
When you reset it, it was off for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So it's O2s or it might be the cats, but I don't think it's cats.
It's funny. You're gonna have to edit this. I gotta go pee.
It's an 08.
09. We'll see what happens.
Did it stay lit? I set mine down too.
Of course.
Good stogie.
Good stogie.
Oh,
It's nice to have 3 good stogies after 3 shitty stogies.
they weren't all shitty. Come on. That one Cuban sucked ass.
So
The
bad.
others were not that bad. They were not that bad.
But they weren't.
They were good mellows.
They weren't great.
mellow smokes. They're the kind that you would give to someone that you don't really like. So
Or someone that smokes light cigars.
yeah.
Or the only one I really liked was the first one. I don't remember what it was. It was the one and two were Connecticut's. It was a double Connecticut.
Yeah.
And it'd be a great morning cigar.
So what are you doing this week?
Friday, I got a doctor's appointment with a cardiologist. Let's see what else. There's something going on, and then a week from tomorrow is it the Charlotte Hurricanes or the North Carolina Hurricanes?
Carolina Hurricanes.
Carolina Hurricanes golf tournament.
You gonna play?
I'm gonna shoot it for them, videotape. told them I needed a golf cart, so they said, give me a golf cart, and I'm going to ride around.
Do you need a driver?
Yes. Yes.
Text me the time because I can't commit yet.
That would be great because
It's
going to be a huge event. There's $1 million hole in one hole. This is their fundraiser. It's for veterans. And, dude, that's what I need. We can drive around,
Hell yeah.
shoot and smoke cigars. What
Can
could
we
be?
drink too?
Yes.
Let me, I'll have to see.
Okay, a week from tomorrow,
Okay,
the 24th.
okay, 24th.
Dude,
Let me
what
see.
could be better than you and me in a golf cart driving around? Oh, and it's at this.
We got to take the Humvee.
Yes.
So that would be better.
Well, on the golf course? No.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Let me tell you where the golf course is, because the golf course is some highfalutin golf course. Prestonwood Country Club.
Never heard of it.
Dude, it's massive. It's like a pro course.
The 24th.
The 24th.
Okay, let me check.
We need to be there at 8 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yep.
Ugh. All right. 8 o'clock.
The 4th annual Hurricane Warrior Golf Classic at the Prestonwood Country Club in Cary. All proceeds will benefit the
Also, it's
Hurricane
in
Warriors.
Cary.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot of
A $50,000 shootout, a $1 million hole-in-one, beat the pro with backswing golf events, along with a $5,000 putting contest, a team costume contest, and more.
Okay, you dress up like Santa Claus, whip out the elf. I'll have the elf outfit on. And there's our contest, our character contest.
Bro, I'm not wearing a Santa suit in 70-degree weather.
Okay.
I might wear a velour. I'll see if I can get you a velour Diesel Jack Media suit.
Velour, like a smoking jacket?
Yes.
Okay, I'm down.
I have a Diesel Jack Media velour outfit.
You know what is missing in here? There's two
Two hot chicks.
No. I have a hot chick when I get done with this. I'm all right. So is you. So. What is actually missing is my
Two hot
Office-
chicks.
my Office Joe poster and my Range 15 poster.
I'll
You
see what I-
probably
I'll-
walk by
I'll-
half a dozen
okay.
times.
I'll see what I can do about it. You're going to have to email Nick
Oh my God, I'll never get
and see if you can get the Office Joe poster. You'll have to email. I don't even have one, so you can email Nick and see if you can get two of them.
Okay.
It'd be worth it.
Look,
It'd be worth it just
Look,
to see.
bro, you didn't pay me for doing the show, but can I get a fucking
Dude, think of all the free advertising you got for Salvation Coffee.
Think about all the money they saved by filming there on location that they didn't have to pay.
That's right. That's right. Dude, you got tons. I forgot about that. You got tons of promo. We filmed at the Salvation Coffee, but I'm sure people have flocked.
The only person that promoted it was me.
You need a sign up that says they're the location of the Office Joe TV series. People will flock to it.
You know, what's
Not
funny-
only do you have great coffee, but you were the scene from Office Joe, the hit TV show.
Yes. A filming location.
You should charge your customers extra for just being able to buy coffee there.
We should. I need a poster up on the wall over there.
Okay.
I'll send Nick an email.
Yep. So you need 3 posters.
Yeah,
You need one for the office, one for here. You need one for Salvation, one for me, and one for here.
All right.
I think
Even Bill Smitrovich gave me an autograph picture.
fucking Bill. Did you ever watch that episode?
Which, yes,
Did you?
it's pretty intense.
Dude, I cut out.
There was a lot of screaming and shouting and crying.
I cut out so much from that.
I
Where he
was out.
just- where he
I was in the lobby.
The whole
I heard-
time?
Yeah, I heard. Because you were like come to Bill Smith's version. I was like,
Because I'm always trying to hook you. I'm always trying to hook you
in
up.
Miami Vice. I was like, oh, okay, I'm there. And I'm sitting there, I hear everybody shout.
It was insane, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yes, that is Neutral Position, an episode of Oh no!
What? You're out? What is going on?
We have juice.
When did it stop?
I don't know. It had to have been just the last few minutes.
Was it still going when I got up?
Yes. Okay. So, Neutral Position is a podcast with Nick Palmisano, and he had Bill Smitrovich on there. He also had yours truly. Hollywood is on it as well.
We've had a lot of people. We've had
Jennifer Griffin.
Jennifer Griffin.
Good interview.
That was a great interview. Jennifer Griffin.
She's kind of changing a little bit. Like
Is she?
Heard the stuff that she posts on X. She's not doing a lot of fact checking. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, but that
Maybe your facts are wrong.
Okay. Why has it got to be my facts?
Because Jim,
Because I'm not Jennifer Griffin.
No, because you're notorious for flying off the handle before you have the real facts.
All right, crew.
Am I lying?
No, I'm guilty.
Okay.
Guilty.
I'm just gonna call it like it is. We have Neutral Position podcast is still out there. And we've got CIA agent.
Yeah.
We've got Rod Rodriguez, who is the CEO of the Global War on Terrorism Monument that's going to be built in Washington, D.C. We had
John
Rhys Davis, which was a 3.5-hour podcast with one of the greatest, most interesting actors out there.
That was a good one.
That was a great one.
Super nice guy, too.
What a life he's had.
So nice.
And we had Jim Young, Salvation Coffee.
What kind of
So you
strings
can't
do we have
say-
to pull to get these stellar people on here besides myself? Maybe I should get Nick to come and we do them with Nick. Does he smoke cigars?
He might smoke a cigar.
Might.
Well, we went to
He's not a poser, is he?
we went to this fancy secret club in Arlington with the CIA guy, and Nick smoked a cigar. Now, I love Nick. He's like family to me. But I wouldn't call him a cigar smoker.
Okay. I got you.
I could send you a picture of him smoking a cigar, and you'd say, that guy's not a cigar smoker. He's just not comfortable with it, you know what I mean?
Does he hold it like this?
No, that's hilarious. Who smokes cigars like that?
Nick?
No. But it was just something about, I got a picture of him with a cigar in his hand. It looked like he was really uncomfortable.
Huh. I think Nick looks like that a lot.
You're not a nice guy.
I love Nick. He's funny.
One thing about Nick is he believes what he believes, and I respect that. He's not going to walk wishy-wash. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think we're going to have to start using some of your connections, bro.
To do what?
To get some really famous people in here.
We'll get Dan Mercer in here.
Let's get Dan, the star of Office Joe.
But how are we going to record that? Where are we going to? We'll have to put another chair here. Oh, we'll put him in the.
We have the
in
couch.
the throne. We'll put him in the throne.
I have the couch.
I'm not sitting on the couch next to you.
You can sit on the couch next to Dan.
No, we can put that other chair in here. That's right in there.
Yeah.
It's like a throne. That'll be for the guest.
Yeah. There you go. We just put them right in the middle, right here, and then we grill them. Good smoke. Very good smoke.
Hand me that lighter because this thing went out because of all your bullshitting.
It's always my bullshit.
That's right. Okay, I have to laugh at you talking about somebody else's fact checking. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm not the one that did the fact checking on her.
I'm just saying.
Community Notes did the fact checking on her, and what she said was totally false. She was a CNN. She was doing a CNN style thing, and it was a little off.
Here's what I have to say. We do no fact checking here.
Hell no.
So
What are facts anyway.
if you think that what we've said is untrue, feel free to speak up and make a comment.
Yes, make a comment.
Because we are like most normal Americans. They hear something and we fly off the handle, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm amazed at the AI bullshit on the internet these days. How real they make it.
Are you saying you think that it was an AI Jennifer Griffin addressing this?
No. I'm saying there's so many
Is it
videos.
Griffin or
Yeah.
Griffith?
Griffin. There's so many videos on social media that look like they're real,
Yes.
and they're completely not. I saw one this week that showed you as a 19-year-old ballerina, and it looked real.
Did I have big boobs?
Of course you did.
Okay, because a ballerina. Yes, if I'm going to be a ballerina, I'm going to have some like double D's.
But they're strapped way down because you're a ballerina.
I can't do Madonna point up.
Did you see the movie The Black Swan?
Yes. Didn't like it.
Because you
It
didn't
sounds
understand
weird.
it.
I understood it.
You didn't understand it. It was
did
like
understand
half
it.
of the movie was totally her.
Her fantasy thing.
Yeah,
It's her fears or whatever.
yeah. Well, good for you. That
Tell
shows.
me.
That shows some advancement in your hillbilly
Have you
ways.
seen Hollywood Nights yet?
No.
You need to watch that shit. Fran Drescher.
She was my neighbor when I first moved to LA.
She's in the Hollywood Nights.
When I first moved to LA, she was my next door neighbor. I lived, I lived off of Barnum, which is, I lived right above Universal Studios. I could look down and see the lake where they filmed at Universal Studios, and I could see the Psycho House.
Gilligan's Island?
No. I could see the Psycho House from where I lived. And I sat out on my porch and smoked cigars. And one day the next door neighbor came over.
She would come out. Oh my God, what is that smell?
She came over and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "Great." And she walked up the steps, and I introduced myself, and she said, "My name's Fran." And I'm like, "Cool." We talked for like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then she left, and like it took 3 times for her to stop by for me to realize who it was. Because she looked like a human being, not like her character.
Was this when she was in that TV show?
Married with Children.
No.
No?
No. The Nanny. She was the nanny.
Who was the wife on Married with Children?
That's that's the big redheaded chick from Sons of Anarchy. I can't remember her name either.
That's who my neighbor was then.
Oh, okay. So she didn't say Fran.
Hey Siri, who is the wife in Married with Children?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
Katie Seagal.
Yeah.
That was my next door
Steven
neighbor.
Seagal's sister.
No.
Do you know who her sisters are? You remember the Doublemint twins? And they
2
also
minutes,
had
2
a
minutes and one.
they
2
had
sticks, 2 whatever.
they had a TV show back in the 80s too. They were her. She was their sister.
Okay, if you say so.
I just saw some trivia shit that was talking about.
It was Katie Seagal.
Yeah.
That's who my next door neighbor was. And
Oh, Fran Drescher.
next to her was Morgan Fairchild.
whom I've slept with.
Really?
Remember John Lovitz on
Oh,
Saturday Night Live? He would always talk about Morgan Fairchild. So there I was with Morgan Fairchild, with whom I've slept with.
and the black guy that always spoke in the very elegant voice.
James Earl Jones?
No, he was the cook from the Cowboys.
Danny Glover?
Dude, no. Hey Siri, who is the cook in the Cowboys?
You sure you trust Siri an awful lot?
Here's an answer from Wikipedia.
See, she goes to Wikipedia. You can't trust Wikipedia. They can be lying.
Yeah, gave me a Dallas Cowboy player. Hey Siri, in the movie The Cowboys, who was the cook?
Here's an answer from Trivia.
Roscoe Lee Brown.
Oh,
Roscoe Lee,
Lee Brown. He did. He always had that nice.
Mr. Netwinger.
Yeah.
He was my neighbor on the other side.
And he was the robot in he was the Ice King in Logan's Run. The movie Logan's Run had Farrah Fawcett.
James Conner.
No. Farrah Fawcett.
I'm thinking the
Jenny
Sullivan Green.
Auger and Michael York. And it was great.
Are you through your cigar?
I'm done. Yeah.
You bastard.
It was down to the nub. It went out. I didn't see the point of lighting it back up. I don't smoke cigar roaches. I let the staff put that in their pipe and smoke it.
I told you about that time I was a bartender at Vanna White's boyfriend's house, and there were like 10 freaking great Castro
cigars.
Cuban cigars left in the ashtray that my buddy and I took.
Oh. Well, I would like to do a shout out to my friend Harold, who is a regular at the coffee shop, and he is a watcher of the Smoked Debrief.
He is.
And he always comes in every morning and he says, I enjoyed the last episode. He said, I enjoy watching it.
Well, I hope he didn't see the political ones, because we've gotten a little more political,
No, he thinks the same way.
exposing you for your bigotry and your negativity towards getting along with people that don't think just like you do.
Well, this is our podcast, and we say whatever the fuck we want.
That's right.
That's why we're not going to be on MSNBC
Or CNN.
or CNN.
Or
We're going to be obsolete.
Or Blue Sky.
Yes,
No one on Blue Sky is going to be talking about us.
I'm going to change the name on Blue Sky. It's going to be the Smoke Debrief. We're going to do it. And the first episode that we do on Blue Sky, we'll say, there's only two genders. Welcome to Smoke Debrief. There's only trois genders.
You think that's French?
Trois. Oui.
Thanks for joining us.
Parlez-vous
Fun.
français?
Please, if you hate it, comment. If you like it, comment. If you want us to smoke something, comment. If you have any questions for us, please comment, and we'll address those comments on the next show.
And do you know how to say you would like to go to the hotel in French? I would like to go to the hotel.
Classic American, Jim.
Steve Martin, buddy. Omelette du fromage.
Fromage. And ram it down my throat.
That's right.